Okay, so good morning, everyone. And may I call on Mr. Cinco to lead the prayer?
Let us all bow down our head and let us pray. Lord, bless this day with knowledge. Lord, bless our family who is in our homes. Lord, please bless us with a clean path to our future. And Lord, please, please grant us happiness in the future, even though if things are still uncertain. Here we ask in our Lord. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.
Amen. And now may I call on Ms. Imehas to check the attendance
Yes,
while I am reading the learning objectives. Okay, thank
yes,
you,
ma'am.
Ms. Imehas. Thank you. And I read the learning objectives. At the end of the class discussion, the student should be able to understand the fundamental in learning theories, to apply basic concepts and theories in learning under inclusive learning, explain the examples of learning theories. So now let's start the discussion. We will present to you the three learning theories, which is the cognitive learning theory, behaviorism learning theory, and constructivism learning theory. The first learning theory will be presented to you by the first reporter, who is Miss Eroy. Can I call on Miss Eroy, please?
Thank you. So, good morning, everyone. So, today I am going to report about the cognitive learning theory. So, before we proceed to our discussion today, may I know if you heard the word cognitive, what comes in your mind first? Yes, it's all about the brain, the mental processes, and the people of how we think. So, cognitive learning theory focuses at the people think or the way the people think. Mental processes are an important part in understanding how we learn. The cognitive theory understands that learners can be influenced by both internal and external elements. Jean Piaget is a highly important figure in the field of cognitive psychology, and his work focuses on the environments and internal structures and how they impact learning. So, did you know that our mind is like a computer? Yes, because our mind is also restoring and acquiring a new one and then apply it in a real life situation. Just like, for example, the students learn on how to solve the addition problem so that he or she able to apply it in a real life situation such as a budgeting. So the further informations will be given to Miss Tildad.
So, good morning. Cognitive learning is a way of learning that helps students use their brains more effectively. This method of learning is active, constructive, and long lasting. It encourages students to fully engage in the learning process so learning, thinking, and remembering get easier. Cognitive learning is not about memorization or repetition. It's about developing the understanding. It's about learning how to learn. Example, asking students to reflect on their experience, helping students find new solutions to problems, encouraging discussion about what is being taught, helping students explore and understand how ideas are connected, asking students to justify and explain their thinking, using visualization to improve students' understanding and recall. Inside the classroom, cognitivism emerged via interactive activities that spark the thinking potential of students. For example, when students receive thought-provoking questions, it guides their brain to look deeper into their present knowledge to find solution. Next, reporter.
So I'm going to report what are the three benefits of cognitive learning theory. So the first one is improves comprehension. The second one is improves confidence, and the last one is promotes long-term learning. So the first one, our comprehension will improve because cognitive learning theory encourages students to take a hands-on approach to learning, and that will allow us to explore the material and to have a better understanding. And the second one is it improves confidence because with a deeper understanding of topics and stronger learning skills, we can approach schoolwork with enthusiasm and confidence. So, for example, Ma'am Leslie would ask us about cognitive learning theory. And also, of course, we can answer it with confidence because we already know or we already have an idea about it. And the last one, it promotes long-term learning because if our cognitive learning skills are developed, it allows us to build upon previous knowledge and ideas. This teaches us to make connections and apply new concept to what we already know. So that's all. So let's proceed to the next reporter.
All right, thank you so much. And the next topic would be the behaviorism learning theory. Behaviorism learning theory, developed by B.F. Skinner and Pavlov, it is the idea that how a student behaves is based on their interaction with their environment. It suggests that behaviors are influenced and learned from external forces rather than internal forces. Psychologists have been developing the idea of behaviorism since the 19th century. Behavioral learning theory is the basis of for psychology that can be observed and quantified. Positive reinforcement is a popular element of behaviorism, and the classical conditioning observed in Pavlov's dog experiments suggest that behaviors are directly motivated by the reward that can be obtained. For example, teachers in a classroom can utilize positive reinforcement to help students better learn a concept. Students who receive positive reinforcement are more likely to retain information moving forward, a direct result of the behaviorism theory. And of course, behaviorism, also known as behavioral psychology and a theory of learning, which states that behaviors are earned through interaction with the environment through a process called conditioning. And of course, behavior is simply a response to a particular stimulus. And also, behaviorism is only concerned with observable stimulus response behaviors. So now Mr. Cinco will present you the examples of this topic.
So, classical conditioning. Pavlov example. A parent's praise for a child's good behavior makes them feel proud. The child associates the behavior with the praise and feels proud. A student laughed at when he gave a presentation in class and felt ashamed. Now, every time he has to speak up in front of people, he feels nervous and fearful. Operant conditioning. Skinner example. A child may learn to clean his or her room regularly because he or she will be rewarded with extra TV hours every time he or she cleans up. Children will follow rules strictly to avoid being nagged by the parents. So to avoid nagging, the child might end up following the rules strictly. So since behaviorism theory focuses on the environment and external factors, a child who is taught to eat other human beings might become a cannibal, same with his or her parents. And an interesting subject would be serial killers, since serial killers are a product of their environment. An example of which is Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer learned how to melt and take away flesh from bones, which was his signature move when he was caught. Thank you. That is all. Now let us proceed to the next reporter.
So now let's proceed to constructivism learning theory. It's based on the idea that students actually create their own learning based on their previous experience. This learning theory focuses on learning as an active process which is personal and individual for each student. Teacher is a constructivist classroom act as more of a guide to helping students create their own learning understanding. They help them create their own process and reality based on their past. Did you know that Jean Piaget is the considered as the father of constructivist view of learning? As a biologist, he was interested in how an organism adapts to the environment and how previous mental knowledge contribute to behavior. So now I will give the I will give to the next reporter, Ms. Cordero.
Examples of constructivist classroom activities. So first is reciprocal teaching or learning. Allow pairs of students to teach each other. So both students are learning and teaching each other. So it's like give and take. For example, I am best in English subject but lacks in math subject. And my friend is best in math subject but lacks in English subject. So we agreed to study each other and teach each other on the subject that we are lacking of or having a hard time studying or learning. So next is inquiry-based learning. Learners pose their own question and seek answers to their question via research and direct observation. So for example, I am curious on how a tomato grows. So I study and do research and investigate on how it grows so that I can provide my I can provide answer to my own questions. So next is cooperate learning. Students work together in a small group to maximize their own and each learning. So example of this is studying together with friends or with classmates. So that is the end of my reporting. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, reporters. And that would be that would be the end of our discussions for today. And I hope you have understand all the topics that we have presented. And since we already presented to you the free learning theories, the cognitive learning theory, behaviorism learning theory, constructivism learning theory, together with their examples. And now we will give you the activities and in your own words, you have to explain it in your own words. You have to write it in essays. So the activity would be the uh, number one is what is cognitive learning theory, what is behaviorism learning theory, and what is constructivism learning theory. And that would be all. Thank you so much, and good day, everyone.
Goal!